everybody.
Hello.
I'm Val.
And my name is Mandy.
And welcome back to We're All Strangers podcast.
Navigating life together.
Today we are here with...
Jack Kaufmann.
Yes.
And what are we doing today?
Navigating through dyslexia together.
Yes, we are. We're super excited. I would like to hear just a little bit about you.
I'm 20. I want to be a film director, and I'm currently majoring in film production.
Yes, so this is one of other Mandy's film friends that I know. They're currently working on a project together. So I have met Jack before. He's not a total stranger.
Not a total stranger, but now we're getting deep and in depth because Jack and I are in the same production program together, and we actually never got to work on anything together last semester. I actually didn't even know who Jack was. And then this semester we're in the same group, and then Jack was known as, or he still is the sound guy. In movie terms, he's in charge of miking everybody, the boom, and he's just been booked like crazy. He's working on a short film of mine that I've been working on, and he was my amazing sound guy. But now Jack and I are gonna step away from film a little bit, and we'll get depth and deep about it.
We're gonna get in deep and know your roots.
Yes,
all right.
exactly.
So what we're gonna start off with first is we're gonna do an icebreaker. So you can go ahead and pick one for me, and I'll read it for you. All right.
There
Let's
you
see
go.
what we got. Oh, we read this one last time. Do another one.
Do a yellow.
Okay, let's see. All right. When people come to you for help, what do they usually want help with?
Usually they want help with sound.
Okay, regarding film, but then regarding like personal.
Mostly just like help in general. I'm always able to like scoot my time around to help other people.
Are you the type of guy, like, if you need something like help in the house or help with like moving?
You're like you're the handyman.
You're a
much.
pretty tall guy. I feel like if we were moving or something, it'd be like, you need to call Jack over.
You mentioned that, yeah, it's mostly the height situation. It's always like, oh, it's up there, Jack. Can you do that real quick?
How tall are you?
6'5", 6'4".
That's crazy.
Yeah, I had to adjust the camera so that we made sure that Jack was perfect in frame.
Wow. What about you, Mandy? What do people come to help for you?
I feel like, well, were we gonna try to do film-wise too, and then you can do career-wise?
Sure.
Film-wise, I feel like I've gotten a lot of opportunities just to write with people, to kind of flow with like creative ideas. So I feel like if people need help to kind of not be so logistical with film and more like the arts creative, I can help with that. But more personal, I feel like not so much now, because I feel like my close circle, we all kind of like deal with everything on our own or like help each other. But before, I feel like I was always like that friend that was like the therapist friend. Like all throughout middle school, I was the mediator because I hated drama. I always stayed neutral, so it was kind of just like, trying to differentiate, okay, not who's at fault, but like how can we sizzle down this situation. And then that was mine. How about you? I know you're not in film, but like, do people come to you? I know study-wise, Val's a very intelligent studier.
Recently, I think I've been doing pretty good in school, and so I've had some people ask me and come and ask me to study together
About chem, right?
Yeah, we do some of that, and then I think a lot of the times how I balance everything. I think I do pretty good at balancing my time. I do pretty good at fitting things into my schedule. So I think I'm a very big calendar girl. But then personal-wise, I think that's personal. Honestly, the balancing. I think it's personal.
I think a great motivation talker. I think you know how to push people.
You should walk in on me and Mandy sometimes. I'll be like, Mandy, you got this. Mandy,
this
I'll
literally
be throwing
today.
the most cliche wisdom, but I'll be throwing it. And sometimes I just get into motivational, there's a motivational podcast, it sounds that's just my vibe. So yeah, that would be pretty much it.
You should probably do a motivational ASMR separate channel. Just tell people motivational.
Yeah, maybe I should. Honestly, I was kind of sometime back I think a year or two ago, I was not in the music in the when I'd work out, I didn't really want to listen to music. I was like in the mood for like a motivational podcast, but sometimes they just went into too much of stories. I'm like, I kind of want to get like yelled at. I want you to be just throwing things at me. So I was like,
I mean, you wanted to be a personal trainer for a little while, so that comes with your.
sometimes I think you need a good yell,
desire.
not like a mean yell, but like I think like an aggressive like
Yeah, Jack, if
motivation.
you ever need to wake up, you got Val.
Hey, I might need to just hire you to come into my apartment to wake me up.
I
I'd be
got-
struggling.
no, that's
She is my alarm clock because anytime you see me late to class, it's because Val didn't wake me up. But if I'm on time,
I
this
wake
girl
up
got
and
me.
I'm like, do you want to start your day not sleeping? Like you can. It's not coming off naturally, guys. I swear, when it's like in person, it comes off naturally. But like,
It's
my
no,
gosh.
yeah.
My roommate's like that, but like in the more aggressive way.
Oh.
He just like knocks on my door and is like, bro, wake up, wake up.
Oh, I think one time when I really needed to get somewhere, Val pulled my blankets and turned off my lights and like,
Turned on your lights.
or sorry, yeah, turned on.
She gets so mad at me. She's like, turn them back off. Turn them back
No,
off.
I can wake up, no problem. Like if she's like, "Hey, rise and shine, sweetie, time for school." But if she's like ripping it and like I can't do the super aggressive because then I'll be in a bad mood. Like
I'm sorry.
I'm a soft motivational gal. That's what it is.
Okay. Well, now to get into it, we're gonna ask you question number 1. And for all those who don't know, what's dyslexia? And can you describe how you felt when you found out that you had it?
So dyslexia is the disability in reading, writing, spelling, in any shape or form when it comes to most people for learning. It's a learning disability. Most people have it. Some people don't even know they have it. How old was I? I think I was 6 when I found out I had it. I got tested and it was kind of a shock to me. And I was very slow against other people. And I thought, I must be like either very stupid or I'm different in some way. And when I found that out, I was like, oh, okay, now I can understand what's going on. So it would be very hard because I would have to always type out what I wanted to say before I write a card. I would always have to like have books be read to me for a long time. Then I found out audiobooks existed, so that really
Oh,
helped.
that's true.
I'd like to read, what was it? Hunger Games when I was in like middle school. So I had the Hunger Games audiobook so I could like actually do the homework.
Oh.
And then I got like special programs on my computer so I could like make it read textbooks to me, stuff like that.
So is it like, because I think everyone, like I know when I heard first of heard of dyslexia was like the Bella Thorne, like Disney Channel, like.
There's a
thing.
little bit of like a stereotype
No, it wasn't a stereotype, but that was like the first time I had heard of dyslexia.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Was
yeah.
through Disney Channel, and like she told her story.
Same here. It was like, whoa, I feel represented in some way.
Yeah, it was. So that was the first time I see it, and I feel like when I was telling my boyfriend that I was doing this, he was like, oh, Bella Thorne, like da da da. So it's just pretty funny. But when they would show it, they also showed like the mix up of letters and like how they kind of just like get like all scrambled. Is that like what do you see?
So I get a lot of words mixed up in my brain. And sometimes I mix them up in my when I'm reading. My brain will like read half of the word and it will jump the word, and then I just jump to the end and my brain will just like fill in the gaps, going like, okay, that says person. It must say, I don't know, pepperoni.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like that's an extreme example. That doesn't happen, but it's like what was it? I was reading something today. It was like representation, and it was like I was like, no representation. That makes no sense. And it says, Jack, that says no repression.
Oh.
And it's like,
okay.
I get, and it's like, oh damn, I confused that.
Is there certain like words or letters that are like harder than others, or it's just like an overall
B and D.
B and D?
B and D. For spelling, it's hard too for me because my brain just forgets like some of the rules. So like I have to sound out words to think it. But the stupid part about English is like we change up the letter spelling a lot.
Yeah.
So like if it's ER, I'll sometimes do IR because it sounds similar.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the shuns, like TION or SION, I get them mixed up all the time.
Oh yes. Have you ever like? I know in high school or like to get into college, like you needed to have like another like 2 years of like Spanish. Did you have to do that?
Yeah, no, I had to do that, and that was a very strugglesome time.
Yeah,
I was about to ask, like, when it comes to like another language, like, was that even more like stressful, or it?
Way more stressful. I don't think I can learn another language, to be honest
Really?
with you, because like I can read some of it because like I remember like yo means I, that's it, and like the simple words like adios,
And some of the foods.
And some of the maybe burrito and taco.
So would you, like you said, you were in some programs, like would you get some sort of like help in that way, that like they didn't let you just like fail these classes, I would assume?
So originally, when in the second grade, they would.
Really?
My mom had to fight very hard for them not to hold me back, because they were like not giving the help I needed. I wasn't getting readers. I wasn't getting extra time on my tests and all that. And like the education system doesn't really see dyslexia as a disability until like maybe recently.
And I think even then, I was talking to one of my roommates, that they really don't, even if you do have a disability, they still won't give you that extra help.
Yeah.
And she was saying how she needs extra time on exams, and the teacher would refuse to give it to her, even though she has letters, even though she is already through like this, like the system that allows for you to get extra time. And they literally are like, oh nope, we want to treat you like everybody else. But it's, in all reality, like you have to have that you need to do that extra. You don't have it as easy as everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So that is really unfortunate, but.
I never understood why schools do that.
Why are you gonna be so
I
hard?
don't know. It's school teachers are just like, I don't know. Maybe they got an ego. They got like keep pushing on them, but I don't know. It's very hard. But like,
Could be more money on them. That's usually always the issue, you know.
Or they
Is
gotta spend more time like doing for you.
Right.
Like, cause I remember it was like sometimes I would be in their lunch break and they had to do the test for me.
Oh.
And like it'd be cutting into their
But
personal
that doesn't
time.
mean that's your job. That's like
Yeah.
your job is to be able to help all the students. That's like the whole thing. Did you have any like friends, or like did you know anybody else that had dyslexia around that time?
I didn't know anyone who had dyslexia or any learning disabilities during my high school era. I know one other person now who has dyslexia, and that's like my friend Cameron in my film class.
really?
Yeah, Cameron has dyslexia, but I don't think he has it to my extreme. I think he has like slight
Which
dyslexia.
Cameron?
Not
Oh,
you don't know Cameron, yeah. We have Cameron that was on here on the podcast,
It was
but
also in films. I was like, it's a very common name. Oh, okay. So that's so interesting, because when I did a lot of research, guys, and they were saying how they were like interviewing one of the film teachers, and she did a survey in her class, and about 50% of the class had dyslexia, and they had like reported it. And so I was like, oh, that's actually really interesting. But we'll get into more about that in a minute. So you guys
So within the industry, you're in the film industry. Can you explain to us your experience with dyslexia within the film industry and kind of how you guide through it?
Sure. So how I struggle a lot with script writing mostly. So how I write my stories first is I storyboard them first. I'll come up with an idea and a concept. And I'm like, okay, I need to visually see the idea, and then I can start adding dialogue and like storytelling and blocking it like on pages. And then I use like this app website called Celtics, and it like helps me like organize it into actual script format.
I love Celtics. That's
And
what I use too.
And I use some Grammarly as well, just so it's like the grammar.
No, actually, loved and hate Grammarly, because they're $30 a month, and I signed up for like the free membership.
Oh, I got the free one.
I had the free one, and then they charged me $30 a month one month, and I was like, whoa! It was during summer too. Sorry.
Do you pay for Celtics, or do you just delete because they have that new system now?
Celtics has got the bad system where it's like you can't have 3 scripts, you can only have 1. So what I do is I download my script if I want to continue it, and I just delete it if I want to go to the next one, and I'll just copy and paste it when I'm done.
That's how you finesse Celtics.
It's so interesting. You know what's so interesting is that like I was reading into it, and I didn't realize how many actors and how many directors have dyslexia. I'm gonna throw some names out there, but I know Jennifer Aniston. I saw
Steven Spielberg, she said,
Yes.
which is crazy.
I remembered all the names. I was so ready for this. Tom Holland has dyslexia.
Tom Cruise as
Tom
well.
Cruise has dyslexia, and I also saw Patrick Dempsey from Grey's Anatomy. I love me some Grey's Anatomy. and so I just was like, it was just really interesting, and it was just a lot of the reason why they're so amazing is because of dyslexia. And I read about that. If you wanna, I don't know if you have anything to tie into that, or if any comments.
Well, Spielberg is my idol when it comes to directing, and I think I can definitely see his dyslexic moments. He uses visuals more of his storytelling than it would be dialogue. Dialogue he writes perfectly, but I'm more of a visual shower and doer when it comes to my projects. I try and minimize my dialogue mostly in my projects.
No, because the reason why what I saw was, you know, like when people say those who are blind have better senses when it comes to like smelling things, like kind of a feel for things, because one sense is gone. And so they said that's kind of like the same concept, because your reading and writing is just is not good. Like it enhances all your other like senses, and for film you need that creative thinking, and you need those visuals and everything. So those senses for you guys are like super heightened, and that's why there's so many incredible people in the field. And so I was pretty interested.
So when you're writing like a new film or a new idea, are you strictly basing off of like the storyline off of just your visuals of how you want it to go, or you are thinking of like, okay, what's the dynamic between these characters, because you could totally do films with no dialogue and it'll say a whole story, but your stuff that you've worked on and that I've seen you worked on does have some dialogue. So like, what's your thought process throughout? I know you explained a little bit, but like, do you get what I'm saying? Because different filmmakers, whether they have dyslexia or not, they always have a certain way of filmmaking and creating. Some people start visually off of a scene. Some people start strictly off of a line. So like, what's kind of your process?
So I've done some research on my own, and there's like two types of thinkers in a way. There's the word and audio thinking, and there's the visual thinking. Mm-hmm. And when you think, you can see pictures, and when you think, you can see words. I can see pictures, how I think. And when it comes to making ideas or writing my scripts, I think, here's a concept I think of, and I visually see these gags happening. I visually see the action here happening, and I base the story around the act of it. There's a script I'm writing about two friends trying to stop their other friend from doing something. I'm not going to reveal that because I don't want the idea to get stolen.
Is this the capstone?
This is the capstone idea.
Okay.
And the gag is the thing they're pushing it further and further by trying to stop it. And then at the end, they realize it's inevitable to happen. It's a good thing to happen. And with that, I can easily write dialogue around it based off when I talk to friends and all that. And that's also a skill most people use. But I use more of the visual aspect of, here's an idea and concept visually that's happening, like the action's happening. Mm-hmm. And then I can write dialogue around it.
Okay, that makes sense. I like that. What's your method? Yours is this, you said a scene, right? You visualize a scene,
yeah,
and then you base it off the rest.
Yeah,
of the
mine. Yeah. I'll think of if I have an idea. It might not even be a full film idea. It's just an idea of a scene, like specifically to have, and then I'll work off that. Like, I think I explained it before about All These Book, one of my short films. The one scene I envisioned was a boy walking through the library, and then based off the film, kind of, and I have ideas here and there, and then kind of throw in there with that scene, but it's strictly that scene. And then Chimera, which is what Jack has been working on with me, I guess I'll show like a little sneak peek here. The scene that I had thought about was the two main characters laying on the bed with the headphones, which you were there for filming. It's a very important scene, and kind of go from there. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see how people think and how they trail off into everything. I think visuals are so important. We were talking about this off camera, but like, you can have a good story, have good acting, this and that, but it's visually, if you're visually pleasing to an audience or to the eyes, like, that can get you so far into the industry, and like, I don't know, it plays a big role. So
well, my main thing is set design and lighting. That's why I mainly focus on when I'm on my set, because I find it like, if you can, it doesn't matter about like what people say, it's actually like, how can you capture their eye and keep them focused and lead them to like understand the story without even telling them what's going on.
Yeah. Because there's silent films, and they create a whole story with no sound at all. And I think those are so fascinating, because you're truly telling a story, and you're giving so much deeper meaning to things strictly through visuals.
It also allows, I think, ability, and also a way for you to construct something in your mind as well. Although you still want to have like your story be told, but like I remember with Ollie's book, for instance, we had multiple people go up to her and be like, kind of like made their own assumption of what she was trying to portray, what the story behind that was trying to portray. And then me and Mandy were having a conversation about books even, and I like to read, I was talking about like I like to read, but Mandy's not a big reader, but she likes poems. And I was like, I have a feeling that you like poems, because it's kind of correlating with film as well. Like you're able to you're saying two words, roses through this, and you're able to like create a story from it. You know, you take in what you want to hear and you create your own story and your own version of that. Even though they're saying something so slight and so minimal, you can just build off of that. So I think that was with her. With me, I'm more of like a I like math and I like formulas. And I
So you love books.
I see what it is. I know what it is. I know how to get my answer. That's how it is. And like I kind of just like that type of story as well, because I just like to read the story because I'm not that creative, you know. So I think it's really interesting how people with certain mindsets go into certain careers as well because of it. So
I was telling Val, I was like, I think Jack could get into poems, just
if
because.
the reading thing was.
I mean, audible poems, you know, just because.
I do like poems.
Because they allow you to create something more than what is seen, you know,
100%.
or heard, or
Well, like
regardless of what you're.
songs and poems also. Like I love listening to Tyler the Creator because he somehow can like
So good.
tell an entire story with just his lyrics. He can tell a horror story. He can tell like a love story, an action story, just with like a couple of lyrics.
So I also found that outside of reading and writing, dyslexia can also affect memory, organization, timekeeping, concentration, multitasking, and even some communication. So are these some of the things that you've experienced, and is there anything you do to try to overcome these type of challenges?
Every single one of those things.
Oh, research was certain. Yes.
Communication especially, it's very hard for me. I have to like either call or physically talk to people because if I want to try and get my exact point across. Because when I write, I'm just writing just to survive my
Yeah.
text.
Bare minimum, okay.
And like grammar is gonna be horrible because I'll like the autocorrect will like I misspell the word and the autocorrect will say a whole different word. I'm like, I know that's not the word I need. Change it, please. And I just need to call someone and say like, hey, I need this and this and this, or like.
Well, you know, at least it's a good thing sometimes that people a little bit when it comes to texting, it's like a little slang, like a little people like cut words, chop words up. So at least like that's in your favor sometimes.
Well, the funny part is like now in all my group chats, like everyone's so used to my bad grammar. They're like, we know what he means. It's Jackanese. Like we know what he's saying.
Jack what?
Jackanese.
Oh, it's your language. Okay.
Yeah.
Jackanese.
But with time management, it's so hard to do time management right now because my brain's like everywhere, and like I've worked on like 11 projects so far this semester, and it's like every day it's like a new project, and I just like I forget like there's a project at the end of the week, and I'm like, oh, now I
Do
got.
you have a calendar?
The calendar gets put up in like 1 month, and then it's like forgotten after 3 days.
You need Val to
You need
organize that.
Google Calendar, because Google Calendar, it's on your phone, it's on your computer, it's on everything. The second something says, oh, you added it, and you can color code it. You don't even have to write it or read it or whatever. Like you'd be like, okay, red means this, blue means this. Like blue is school related, this is this related. Google Calendar, it's on the phone, it's on everywhere.
What's your secretary rate?
Right?
Low-key, hey, I would love to, but no.
No, because Jack is booked all the time, and sometimes I'll be like, "Hey, Jack, are we good for the shooting for this week?" And he's like, "Hold on, I might have another one, but then there might be another one." But and I'm
Now
like,
that I'm thinking about it, when I told you, I'm like, are you free this day? You're like, I think I am. You're like, I believe I am.
"We'll have to double check."
It's always like that, but it's very hard because I'll forget like what was it? Oh, I was like I wanted to go see Dune 2, and like I scheduled my tickets like 3 weeks in advance, and then like it was a Saturday. I was at work, and then someone said, "Oh, you want a gig Sunday?" And I'm like, "I got nothing Sunday. Yeah, sure." And then the gig went exactly over the Dune 2 time. I'm like, "Oh dang, Jose, you want to buy my ticket?"
Have you been able to see it yet?
No, I haven't been able. I don't have time.
Dang, I know it's hard. It's hard.
I'm booked.
Please get a Google Calendar. You're like hurting my soul.
I'll try.
No, Val, I think you need to help him set it up.
I'll help you set it up,
True.
and then all you have to do is click buttons, okay?
I've been doing the remind thing though. That's been helping with doctor's appointments.
Oh, do you tell like your Siri or something?
Yeah, I tell Siri. Oh shoot.
Oh.
And I tell
Siri.
the robot in my phone, to remind me for things and all that. But like,
Okay, that's better.
yeah, I try. I'm getting better.
Okay.
What was the other part?
There was concentration, memory, and organization.
Concentration's hard because like my brain will keep like daydreaming. I'll be in class and like the topic's a bit boring, so I'm like, man, what am I gonna be doing tomorrow?
But honestly, I think that's something that I do too as well. People also were saying that a lot of people who have dyslexia can also have ADHD.
That's what I was just about to
I
say.
heard about that. I'm not gonna quote on that because I'm not a medical professional, so I don't know exactly on that. But it doesn't seem that far fetched with the whole. Because when I read books, my eyes will like read and they will wander, and then like I will jump back to the same line.
Too. I'll be reading and then like I would have finished 2 pages and I'm like, I don't know what happened except for what the last line I remember was.
You ever get that feeling when you're like reading a book, but you're not reading with your brain, you're reading with your eyes, so you have to reread the entire page?
I'm like, oh, wait, what did I just read? Well, actually, I'm having a very embarrassing moment myself. I restarted the same book thinking I was reading a new book 3 times. Two was a maybe, but 3, it was really embarrassing. And the thing was, I was like, wait, I have read this before, and I'm reading it, and then I saw, like, I got into it, and I'm like, ooh, this is, like, good. And then I get to it, like, page, like, 29, and it was, like, a little fold as if, like, I already read I was, like, my bookmark for the page, and I was like, oh my gosh, I did get to this part. And then it all starts reminding again. I'm like, that is so bad. Who starts a book over 3 times?
Hey, ignorance is bliss. You got to enjoy that book 3 times.
That's what I'm saying. It was so good that I was just like, ooh, each time.
Yeah, that's nice that you didn't even, like, you felt the same like, you felt as if it was the new reactions and feelings, but really you just repeated it 3 times. Maybe, I mean, how many, like, at what stages of life did you read this? Maybe it was at different, or were they back to back?
I just bought this book maybe 6 months ago.
Okay.
So.
Within 6 months, you read the same book 3 times?
Dang.
I don't see. That's some skills because I can hardly get through one book.
So this is why you only read comic books, because then you can tell you've read it already.
Well,
True.
you see, yeah, I guess you're right. But
Comic books are very visual.
That's why I only like read like either manga or graphic novels or comic books, because I can like visually see what the author's like saying, and I can read some of the dialogue, but it's mostly the visual storytelling.
Are they like? Do you read the superhero comics too, or?
Some of them, but more of the darker ones like Batman, Agent Venom. Reading the Walking Dead one recently because that was before the show. It was the original.
Do you wanna make any like superhero films or dark?
I don't know. Superhero films are kind of desaturated this way. It's like everyone's done everything. And it's not really
what
like.
other power can you really have?
It's really hard to go up from there.
I feel like they have the main ones or whatever, and then the other one, like the new powers that start coming along are kind of like, oh, okay.
They've done the main ones. They've done like new superheroes that haven't been in the franchise. They've done the ones where it's sarcastic superheroes like Kick-Ass.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Thundermans, like on Nickelodeon, was like
Thundermans.
it was like a spoof on all that, or like Sky High was also that. It's like
Spy Kids.
Spy Kids, especially. It's like all these ones where like making fun of like superheroes. It's just like that's been done already. There's nothing really new you can do with it at this rate. Like if you say, oh, it's a dark and gritty story, I can tell you like The Batman is a dark and gritty crime thriller. Same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm. Like maybe a Batman film like The Batman I would love to work on but not direct.
Yeah.
Cool.
On not one of our questions, on a like separate, more personal note, I was gonna ask this previously when we were talking about school and as you were growing up, but never came across. But I wanted to ask you, as you were growing up and you found out about dyslexia, did you ever get bullied for it, or did kids ever just make fun of you? Because little kids, like, it's a harder thing for them to grasp, for, you know, being like, oh, why can't you just read this or that, you know?
I got heavily bullied
Really?
in like when I was younger, even in middle school and high school I did, because I just couldn't read it or I like mess up a word. There was one funny moment in college though I thought was hilarious looking back at it, and that's why I just got used to like the joke of I can't read it. There was like, he showed us like a contract for joining a union, and it was like videography in film, videography in television, and then it said photography in like the industry. And guess what I thought it was?
I feel like I already know. Was it pornography?
I was like, that's interesting. Why the union would be interested in pornography? Professor, why pornography? And he's like, where do you see that? And I'm like, right there. That says photography. I'm like,
Did you make a mention that you have dyslexia at that moment?
oh, I was like, dang, dyslexia be popping off right now. I don't know. It happens a lot. You get like made fun of, like, "Ha, you can't read it, dude." It's like, Jack, why are you taking so slow to read it? And or like I'll read it out loud just so I can like make sure I'm reading it correctly. And it's like, Jack, that's not what it says. I'm like,
I feel like now you make light of it. If
Oh,
anything,
no.
you make it a joke and make it known. You know, it's not something that stops you from anything. You're like, yeah, what about it?
yeah. I try and I make fun of it, but I try not make it more of an excuse because like I did that a lot in high school, and then I'm like, what's the point if you have a disability? You shouldn't make it an excuse. You should try and overcome it more.
Yes, I
Instead of
like
like
that.
people go like, because then it's a crutch. It's not like you're more of making it more of a disability by like leaning on it too much, relying on your
Very true.
thing, and then you become weaker by not trying to overcome it.
Yep, I think it's a very big mental thing sometimes. Like when you tell yourself like, oh, I'm never gonna be good at this, or oh, I'm never gonna be doing that. It's just like the same concept with like manifesting things. Like if you keep saying all these bad stuff, like yeah, you're not gonna get better. You're not. When I make fun of myself a lot about my memory situation, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have memory issues when I'm older. Oh, I'm definitely gonna get Alzheimer's when I'm older. Like I keep throwing all these things. I keep putting it into the air, and it's gonna happen soon enough. But just like kind of all around that same subject, that I like what you said, that you're trying to overcome it. It's good that you do make light of it, and you don't let people like make fun of you about it anymore. You don't let it get to you as much anymore. But definitely good that's why you gotta invest in that calendar.
Yeah.
Overcome that problem.
I do.
That calendar. Yeah. So, speaking of just overcoming, you know, what you go through and everything, what is some advice that you would give people that other people that have dyslexia and that are currently trying to overcome with it? What's your best advice, and also what would you tell your younger self? So I know that that's 2 questions there, but kind of.
So for the people who have dyslexia, get your accommodation.
True.
So right before I graduated high school, my mom sent me to a tester because you have to get like updated testing to see if you still have the disability, and that was way needed. So she made all the paperwork, and by doing that, I now have extra time on tests. I get a reader. I get so many accommodations, and it helps you a lot because in college, there's no holding back on the work or the testing. You have to like do it, and the extra time really helps with the math. The reading helps a lot because they give you not free books, but free audio books, and they even give you like free programs so that it reads for you online. And it's much needed to do that. And also like don't be afraid to ask for help from friends, have people proofread your stuff.
That's good.
I always have like my mom and dad proofread my scripts or like proofread my big messages that are very important, or friends to look over them, just to make sure they're grammatically correct or like they worded right. Because sometimes I simplify my wording, but where I could have been more a bit fancy and polite with my wording. Just because when I write, I write straight to the point.
Yeah, we were talking about like text and slang. It's very easy, but there's definitely those emails that you want to have and sound more professional as well.
I can sound more professional verbally, but like.
I'm saying it.
Yeah.
Like,
And people can
emails.
take things so wrong so fast.
Exactly.
Because when you're not there, when you can't physically present yourself, it's really just based off what your email says, what your messages send, and that's all you really have to show what it is. And especially like you guys, I know in like film, there's a lot of networking, there's a lot of reaching out,
Many emailing.
There's a lot of things that you're trying to do, and so it's really important that one message that you convey.
Yeah.
I have Val proofread my stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
My text messages, sometimes my emails.
Her messages to her managers, yes, I do.
Yeah, she is my secretary. She's my personal secretary here.
I am.
Yeah, but definitely like asking for help I never asked for help in high school and middle school, but then when I got to college, like we need to lock in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
important.
definitely asked for help from my parents, my counselors, advisors, everything. I made sure everything was like all neat and tidy.
That's really good. Because I think a lot of people are too afraid to ask for help. You know, it makes you feel weaker, makes you feel like you can't do it by yourself. But at the end of the day, like we're all here to help each other, you know, and grow from each other. So that's really knowledgeable of you to like know, okay, I can ask for help. You know, I can ask people because sometimes people don't want to. And so that's good on your part that you've learned to allow yourself to ask for help, you know?
Yeah, and also to segue to like my younger self, I would tell him to like be okay with like the disability and don't be discouraged by how people are treating you like verbally with it, and be okay, because you'll just, like, it doesn't matter with the people you're with now. In the future, you'll be with more accepting and fun people who accept your disability and accept who you are truly. And also, don't go in the game design, kid. Like, film is where it's at.
Did you go into that for a little bit?
I tried, but, like, dyslexia was like, you can't code.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, coding.
That's also, like, what led me to film, because, like, I can't do an office job. How am I going to spell out all these things? I can't, like, this company, let's say a company at a grocery store needs 50 bananas. I'm going to accidentally write 50,000. Because, like,
That's so true. Okay, so kind of with that a little bit, like, what would you tell somebody who doesn't, like, what if they're trying to figure out if they have dyslexia? What if they don't know and be like, hey, I know I kind of resonate with you in some of these things, but I really don't really know.
it's kind of hard because getting tested is a bit expensive, but it is needed. But if you aren't too sure, just try and think, am I struggling with reading? Like, am I skipping words? Am I bouncing? When I read, I see like a lot of lines in those like spaces. So like, am I getting distracted when I'm reading? And then like, maybe take like I wouldn't say an online disability test, dyslexia test, because those can be misleading. But try and maybe talk to your physician or doctor, see if like, is there a way I can get like checked if I have a mental disability of dyslexia, and they might send you to like a pretty okay priced person that hopefully your insurance covers.
But you think probably it's a lot more known at a younger age as well. I feel like in like teachers and like family will be able to tell, because when you're learning to read and write, that exactly when you were 6 years old, that's kind of when they find out as well.
100%, because people who are really young usually like read and write all the time, but like if a kid is like still relying on his parents to read to him, like that's where you can tell, okay, this person is it's also hereditary. My mom has dyslexia and my grandfather had dyslexia.
Interesting.
So
I
like
did not know that.
maybe look through your family tree, see if anyone had dyslexia in the past. Maybe you may have gotten the bug.
Huh. Super interesting. Well, thank you so much for educating us.
Yes.
I really enjoyed talking to you about it.
Thanks for
learning
coming
about
on,
it.
Jack.
I'm loving it. So, anyways, I think that's gonna be
That's our
a
episode.
little wrap to the end of the show.
We forgot to peep our
I know you
sweaters.
guys saw this new
Guys, we need one for Jack.
like,
Come on, guys,
we're gonna
sponsor,
start.
buy them some so they can buy me one.
Yeah, come on, guys. So,
Guys, are these cool?
do you like them? Are we liking them? We could get them in different colors.
If you saw Jack with the blue and green one on here, because he
Kinda-
likes blue and green.
Kind of fire, kind of
Kinda
popping.
fire.
Maybe we could even do like everybody who comes on, you're automatically put into a raffle to win one for free. And if you're too scared to come on, who knows? Maybe you could still join. Well, no, we'll see.
Yeah, put a little something in there.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
But Jack, thank you so much for coming on here and just opening up about this topic, educating us, because Val and I definitely learned a lot. I mean, she researched and told me everything, and it was a very, very interesting stuff.
I'm waiting for you to become the incredible director. You're going to be added to the list of the people.
Yes,
So.
the legend.
We hope.
Yes, we do hope.
Thank you for letting me give awareness. Sorry.
No, go-
Thank you
go.
for letting me give awareness to the situation.
Oh yeah, of course.
Thank you so much.
There needs to be more.
There is heavily underrepresentation of dyslexia.
Yeah, Bella Thorne can't be the only one carrying the game. but-
No, Jack Kaufmann, everybody.
Nah, Peter Jackson is not that good representation.
Anyways, that is a wrap to We're All Strangers podcast.
Navigating life together.